I want to apply one standard for everybody. I don't want to look at this through partisan goggles. I want to look at this through one standard of the rule of law for everybody.
You believe racism is a mental health issue?
Well, I do believe that racism in many cases is manufactured in a way that creates more racism in this country.
Who manufactures
I cannot think of a greater way, Chuck, of driving.
Chuck, is that his name right here? Chuck, you need to shut him up and say, who is manufacturing this type of fear for individuals like this to enact? Who's making, okay. So one thing that I look for when I'm watching someone who's running for any political office, any political chair, if you can't be honest, I don't like you. If you just can't be 100 with me, if you can't just be like, you know what, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to be 100 with you. I'm going to be straight up. And whatever your question is, I'm just going to give you the answer, or at least to the best of my ability. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to try to do this, politician type, two-step around your question, because a lot of these politicians are amazing when it comes to that. If you can't do that with simple questions, then I'm never going to really like you. And then just anything after that is like, you're not going to have my trust. And when it comes to this guy here, Vivek, it's like, he's a great speaker. And he reminds me of a used car salesman. You know what I'm saying? Like, he will tell you anything and everything to get this piece of crap off his lot into your garage. You know what I'm saying? And he's on Meet the Press and or NBC News. Yeah, that's Meet the Press. And he was asked about the shooting that happened in Florida, and I couldn't believe. I mean, I thought I was seeing like, so, the early 2000s, Stomp the Yard type of dance movies. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's a better dancer than he is rapper. Because the way that he danced around this question is like, bro, no, just stop the talking, stop the trying to butter up all your question, your answers, and just be real. You know what I'm saying? But of course he failed at doing that. So let's go ahead and watch this clip and let's have that conversation. I know the importance of having reliable sources and having resources outside of your echo chamber. I bring to you Ground News. Ground News is a unique product in the market. No other news platform offers the diversity of sources and levels of analysis that they provide. Ground News is a website and app that gathers news from 50,000 sources around the world and puts related articles in one place so you can easily compare coverage. Ground News lets you see the story behind the story using data-driven analysis that looks at things like the political bias, reliability, and ownership of news outlets. One tool that I find extremely helpful is avoiding echo chambers. Ground News gives you the tools to view multiple viewpoints, avoiding the dangers of confirmation bias, and a healthy skepticism and critical thinking skills. And one important key that separates Ground News from the rest is its foundation, a small team of independent media outsiders supported by their subscribers and individual investors who are concerned about the future of news. And it's not a large company founded by big tech or institutional investors. So if you guys are ready to upgrade the way that you see news and want to support the channel at the same time, go ahead and click the special link down below. Now let's get back to the video.
Mr. Ramaswamy, welcome back to Meet the Press.
It's good to talk to you, Chad.
Let me start with the tragedy that took place in Jacksonville. This is what Sheriff Waters how he described the incident last night.
This shooting was racially motivated, and he hated black people. He wanted to kill. He targeted a certain group of people, and that's black people. That's what he said he wanted to kill, and that's very clear. And I don't know that the targets were specific, but I know that any member of that race at that time was in danger.
Both the FBI and DHS in the last 2 years have said that racially motivated violent extremism is on the rise. This is clearly part of that. What would a President Ramaswamy want the Justice Department to do about this racially motivated violence that we're seeing on the rise?
Now, let me just interrupt. Now, I would love, now, of course, it will take God himself to come down from heaven onto earth and speak to me and be like, hey, bruh, you might have to vote for this Republican candidate. He seems like a pretty swell guy. Then maybe I could consider voting for a Republican. But if he would have answered, you know what, I will trust our individuals who is bringing up these numbers, and it is a tragic, and I do not stand for any hateful racial group or individuals who is targeting other fellow citizens in America. And as president, I will make sure that individuals who have ties to these hateful organizations will get broken up and will see some sort of, criminal justice. And when it comes to gun reformers, I'll make sure that individuals with mental illness can't get their hands on guns to enact in this way, shape, or form. And, I will make sure, to unify the country and making sure that we can make sure any hateful ideologies or thoughts do not surface and cause this kind of destruction. Boom. I mean, I'm not a president, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just kind of made that up on a whim right there, but I'm pretty sure Vivek can take something that I said just now and make it sound pretty. That seems pretty fair to me. But he is going to fumble this like Tony Romo. He's going to fumble this at the 1 yard line. This is a layup. Okay, this is an easy question, and he's going to mess this up. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
I think that every criminal deserves to be punished to the fullest extent of the law, especially when they're carrying out premeditated crimes like this one. This is a heinous crime. My heart goes out to the families who were affected by this. It is tragic, and this should not be happening in the United States of America. Okay. I think the fact of the matter is, Chuck, it is really just a symptom of a deeper, new form of national division that we have created. And I think one of my top jobs as the next U.S. president is really to lead with a national tone of character that reminds us of how we are all united across our diverse attributes. I think part of the problem is we have obsessed so much over racial and other genetic differences that we have forgotten all of the ways we're really the same as a country. And I do think we need a leader in the White House developing that national character for this country again. We also do have a mental health epidemic across this country, Chuck, that really is reflective of a hunger for purpose and meaning. We need to fill that void, address.
Okay. What are you talking about? What? You're playing basketball and your team steals the basketball and you're already down court. They throw it to you. You catch the basketball. You do some fancy dribbles. It's just you on the other side of the court, and you go and finger roll this sucker right into the basket, and you miss. And you miss. How do you miss a layup by yourself? You have nobody guarding you. You have nobody asking you, debating you. It is just you. No one's screaming at you, and you miss a layup question. First off, let's go ahead and get this whole mental illness out the way. If you really felt like this when it comes to mental illness, are you advocating for Medicare for all, so all people can get their mental correct, their mental checked? You know what I'm saying? And here's a little insight when it comes to this individual who caused this shooting down in Florida. He was admitted to the psych ward, and for some reason he was still able to purchase a gun. He was still able to purchase a gun. Someone dropped the ball here. So maybe we need to I don't know. I know people don't like this R word, but maybe reform gun policies to where people who have been admitted into the psych ward at any point of their life can't just buy a gun. What? Are you kidding me? And then Vivek says something like, we are obsessed with racial diversity or something similar like that. Who do you mean we? Who's we? The people who had their lives taken away. What did they do besides be black and shop at the Dollar General? Who's we? Because the last time I kind of read articles and watched what's in front of me, it's the Republican Party constantly pushing racial diversity and making it, us versus them and them versus these other folks and these folks versus us. When I say us, white folks, I don't know. The Democrats ain't doing nothing because they chilling. So I'm not really hearing too much from them. So who's the we that's stoking up this racial war in America? So I don't understand when he says we. Like, is he French? Because I don't understand what we mean. No, don't think so.
It's the mental health epidemic, but this is a tragedy and deserves to be called out as heinous. That's exactly what it was.
Why do you think there are more race-based violent crimes on the right than on the left? Why is this a lot more pervasive on the right?
Well, the fact of the matter is, I think that there's a lot more violence that's also pervasive in parts of the country that supposedly are left-wing voter bases. So I don't think this is a left versus right issue, and I don't think we should try to politicize this through partisan goggles either, Chuck, especially in the wake of a tragedy like this one. The fact is there are more black men dying on the south side of Chicago.
Do you ignore the elements that allowed this manifesto to spread online, and that it does feel as if social media connects some of these hateful ideologies?
Well, the fact of the matter is I do think we have two standards that we're even applying if we're having a conversation about manifestos. We still have not yet even seen the manifesto of that transgender shooter in Nashville of a Christian school, and yet here we're focusing on the motive. So if we want to look at this through a
Okay, so that was the weakest handoff I've ever seen. Well, I'm not going to answer your question. I'm just going to say, where's this man? First off, from what I gathered, the individual who went into that school didn't release it. The police have it. Whoever didn't upload it to the internet. So if he wants to ask this question, go ahead and ask the police, not me, not us. I don't have that information. But what we do have in front of us is the manifesto of the individual who did the Dollar General shooting. We have that. So let's discuss what we have and not what we don't have. Wow, that's simple. But no, but what about I don't like to live in a what about world. But we can talk about what we do have. And it's crazy because when was the last time someone killed in the name of more higher paid jobs? When was the last time someone committed mass murder in the name of Medicare for all? I don't know. Like that just seems a little weird to me, right? I mean, but we know for a fact We know for a fact that a lot of these right-wing media personalities, these conservative commentators on YouTube and other platforms, they love to fearmonger their viewers. The whole replacement theory. Who wouldn't be scared if on a daily basis they're being fed that these people are here to replace them, to change the demographics in the image of America from what it used to be? Who wouldn't be scared? If I've been told constantly on a daily basis that, there's white folks who's consistently trying to kill black folks, I'm going to be aware. I'm going to keep my antennas up. Which, that's historically been happening. But, that's neither here or there. Of course, people are going to be scared. And I haven't read the manifesto of who we're talking about, because I don't want to have to read stuff like it's only going to upset me even more. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I seen the gun. I seen some of the things they pointed out in that manifesto. What are you talking about? It was clear of his motives, and he didn't hold nothing back. So once again, you fumbled at the 1 yard line. This was supposed to be so easy right here, to at least have people like me respect you on the basic stuff. And you can't even do that.
Politicized lens, let's look at what the political media and the political establishment is doing differentially in how they analyze different crimes and then create a new narrative around it. The fact is, what I said in the Nashville shooter case, I will say here. Any killing, any mass killing is heinous. We need to get to the root cause of the mental health epidemic, address that. We need leadership that sets the right tone in this country. But if we are going to talk about manifestos and politicization, Chuck, I think it is incomplete not to look at the absence of releasing that Nashville shooter manifesto even as of today. That's why I personally traveled to Nashville to call for it. And that, I think, is the best evidence of real politicization in terms of what the public sees and what the public doesn't.
But what does that have to do with what we have now? They're not related. They're totally different scenarios and motives. If that was released, then okay, let's talk about this one. I don't get it. That's weird to me. But of course, I don't know.
I want to apply one standard for everybody. I don't want to look at this through partisan goggles. I want to look at this through one standard of the rule of law for everybody.
You believe racism is a mental health issue?
Well, I do believe that racism in many cases is manufactured in a way that creates more racism in this country.
Who manufactures it?
I cannot think of a greater way, Chuck, of driving.
Chuck, is that his name right here? Chuck, you need to shut him up and say who is manufacturing this type of fear for individuals like this to enact. Who's making
racism in this country than to take something else away from someone based on the color of their skin. And to think of a greater way, Chuck, of driving racism in this country than to take something else away from someone based on the color of their skin. And so is there existing racism in the United States? Of course there is. But those last burning embers of racism, the last thing I want to do is throw kerosene on it. And yet that's exactly what I believe the modern culture is doing by creating race-based quota systems that deny people access to goods or services based on the color of their skin. The right answer to stop discrimination on the basis of race, as John Roberts said it, is to stop discriminating on the basis of race.
Okay. What are you talking about? What on God's green, beautiful earth are you talking about? Did he try to go to college and he found out that, which this is not how affirmative action works, but a lot of these ignorant individuals think like this. I got denied to be replaced by someone who is not able to meet the same requirements. So he wants to go shoot up a Dollar General, or he applied for a job and got denied the job because they told him, hey, we're trying to meet a quota of, 10 black folks. And unfortunately, we had to take the spot that you would have been certified for and give it to this black person who doesn't meet the requirements, but we just have to meet a quota. What are you talking about? What? It sounds like he's just trying to make excuses, weak excuses. I couldn't understand if it was a good excuse, but instead of saying, maybe because of my political party that I'm supporting is fear-mongering these people, and some people are not mentally stable, so they're going to actually act out on their fears. That's really simple. It has nothing to do with affirmative action. It has nothing to do with companies and quotas, which I've never been hired and said, hey, we're hiring you because we have to meet our quotas. Prove that to me, and then maybe we can have a conversation. But when it comes to this individual, what does that have to do with him and his hatred for black folks? I don't know.
And I am genuinely worried that we're seeing a new wave of anti-black and anti-Hispanic racism as a consequence of the so-called anti-racist movements.
Your argument comes across as blaming those that are trying to create equality for the rise in racism.
Well, the fact is, Chuck, I don't want to be playing a blame game. I want to be going towards a solution.
You just did.
And I am genuinely worried that those who earnestly espouse the view, I'm going to quote Ibram Kendi from his book directly, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, says the right answer to past discrimination is present discrimination. The right answer to present discrimination is future discrimination. I believe the people who hold that view are earnest about it, but I think they're wrong. And I think that that's actually creating more discrimination and more division in our country. And I think the right answer is actually to restore colorblind equality, colorblind meritocracy, embrace what unites us across our diversity instead of celebrating our skin-deep diverse attributes.
When he said return back, when did America ever have a system that was quote unquote colorblind? When? I want to know a date. When has America ever practiced that belief? I don't know. I don't know everything about history, but I'm pretty sure I would have noticed that. I don't know. Once again, that's kind of weird.
That's how I think we reunite this country, Chuck. And it's not blaming anybody else for having a different point of view, but I do think that as a leader, it's my job to articulate exactly how we will unite this country. And that's exactly how I'm going to do it.
Let me move to the debate. And a lot of people are asking.
All right, that's, oh, Jesus. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to it felt like that was such an easy answer. It's so many different simple ways he could have nipped that in the butt, not blaming affirmative action or some sort of quota that these companies and, now really. So are you saying that's okay? No, I know, but so why would you say that? If you're not saying that's a reason to go kill random people that has nothing to do with your situation, then why even bring that up? Because he wants to avoid of blaming the obvious, and the obvious is Republicans, some of them, most of them, not all of them, love to fearmonger their audience because they know that's the only way to get attention. That's the only way to get support because they offer nothing else. They offer no other policies that people actually want, that people actually need. It's a mental health problem. Well, how are we going to get poor folks and middle class folks the access to mental health checks, follow-ups? I could be crazy myself, but I ain't got the money to just be like, hey, can I see a therapist? Can I just no, I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? And once again, with this particular situation, the young man was brought in to a psych ward for, obviously, because he was off his rocker. And then some odd moments later, he was able to purchase a legal gun. Illegal. He didn't go on the black market. He didn't get it from a friend, or his boyfriend or his girlfriend, loophole, whatever it is. He purchased it legally. Maybe we need to kind of, once again, I know people hate this R word, but reform our gun policy, reinforce what we already have in place. But no, once again, if he was to criticize anything about the Republican Party, he would get thrown under that beautiful big red bus that they love to just run over other people. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, once again, it's that political tap dancing that they love to do. Avoid answering the question with a real answer to make you and your party look like they're blameless and they have the answer. That's all you have to do. So once again, I think he failed that question. It was horrible. And if he was being honest and he didn't want to, if he was doing this colorblind thing that he wants other Americans to do, and he wasn't, and he was being colorblind to the parties that are in power at the moment, he would have gave an honest answer. He would have, but he didn't. But if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Let's have a real fair, honest conversation. Don't be an a-hole. Don't be a troll. Let's have that conversation.